1958 Glastron Sea Flite. It's a little bit too much. In fact, it's so ugly, it's beautiful, but there's nothing unbelievable about the boat. It's a flat bottom boat, nothing special at all. But if you look here, these are to be filled with a woven metallic material to make them look shiny, and they have aluminum strips that go around the outside edge of it, and there are solid darts up here in front. The guy who owns this hasn't been able to get those yet, and there's some of the pieces missing in back here as well. There's pieces that go here, there's pieces that go here, which he does have, and he has one of these pieces that go on the side, both sides. It's somewhat restored as far as I'm going. David Kelly, the president of the Pine Tree Boating Club, this is pretty much his boat. I do have an interest in it one way or the other, but I've given him a price if he wants to keep it for himself. And you can see the dual controls, Mark 78. Windshield is as close as we could come. It's pretty close to where it was originally. The holes, we use the same holes. And it's got a venting system with wooden shutters underneath that you can close. And that's the original headlight handles, and those are also Sea Flite cleats. So it's coming along. Got twin tachometers, which is pretty important if you got a dual, and we've installed a emergency stop switch because it's a lot of horsepower on this thing. These are both Mark 78As. Originally they were the cheap one that was all white, but I thought the ugly Bimini blue, which is that green, it's called Bimini blue, I do believe, would look a little bit better on this boat, since it's pretty gaudy anyhow. And I put the deluxe trim on them, top and bottom and stuff. And when I got the engine, this one right here, that was had a Mercury's replacement front. You can see that it says Merc and not Mark, but it came with a decal set. I ordered one back in the 70s. I remember it was very similar. It came with a decal set, so you could put in whatever was necessary to have it match the right engine. So Merc 700, Mark 78A, Mark 78. It's certainly not the same as that one over there, which has a cast front. These boats were you can see the casting here, right here. It's actually a heavy cast, and it's something Mercury tried was they plated these and the top handles with chrome, and they do peel. And you can see the other one, that's a stainless steel, chrome brass handle, a little bit different setup. They look the same, but internally the holes are in different places in the top. So, but this is an original Mark 78A front, but again, it was for the white non-deluxe model. This was partially redone by a guy here who owned it briefly. He was the first guy to restore it, Matt Watkins. And then David Kelly got it. He had it for a while. And by the time I got it, it needed some work. And then we took this thing out for a shakedown cruise here not too long ago, and this one right here, the timing belt let go, and usually that indicates that you've got a bad bearing, but in this particular case it was not, and it was just water had gotten into it and made the metal strands, they just stretched and broke. But everything seems to be running fine as kind now. It did go quite well. I don't know what the speed was. I didn't get out my watch, but we will take it on another trip now that it's pretty much finished. And we will do some do some testing and do GPSing. These are both direct reversing engines. Second year. It means the starter motor starts them up in reverse. Neutral is silent. So you've got no neutral propulsion. The idea behind this was it was the first big engine to come out. It was the first in 1978. They came out with these Mark 78 and 1958 they came out with this one, the 59, and in 58 they came out with a Mark 78. In 57 they came out with a Mark 75. And the idea was they were big engines, and the idea was that you could back them off the trailer, take them over to the dock, but they're the kind of engine you do not use the reverse as a brake, because half the time it doesn't work when you want it to. So other than that, but they were a good idea, but they were very readily superseded by full gear shift, which Mercury already had. Carl Kiekever felt the lower unit wasn't strong enough to handle a shifter. So D. Kelly's boat, about ready to apply the paint. The transom has been done. You can see the big wad of wood there that came out of the middle, and the two ends are dug out by hand. So it's been refurbished. And here we are. The decks have been hopefully well molded. We'll soon find out. And there's D. Kelly himself, who just found a lucite light pole. And we have the socket for it.
The glow pole.
Which it originally had. Glow pole. It originally had one.
Sided, one boat has 19 foot with very high sides. You could fine have a day with it. But it's low cookies, and it's not a utilitarian boat like the London. Nice seats. A lot of good things about it. But I'll take a walk through the yard too and see what I have that might fit.
First coat.
But I think you should also, at some point come over and walk around.
This is a Load King by Caldwell and Son. It's manufactured by Caldwell and Son in Corpus Christi, Texas. And it came, I do believe, with a boat because it was painted. The original paint on this was the color you see now. It has spring torsion axles on it, swing arm, and if you look, it has linkages, and you can see these rollers. You see these linkages? Goes down underneath, and the linkages go along, and what they do when you move a lever up front, those rollers move up and push the whole boat up off of those wooden bunks, and it rolls off quite easily. So it's kind of an amazing trailer. It's really weird. I don't normally restore trailers, but this one was so interesting I couldn't pass it up. You can see it's got some structure too underneath to make it so it doesn't bow. It does anyhow, but this is the lever right here. It's got a locking arm on it. You flip it up, and then you swing this lever out, and it pulls the whole boat up. It's a little bit of a chore to yank it up, but you can see it moving the linkages. All right. And it also tilts. That's what this mechanism does. It locks that handle, but it also allows the trailer to tilt when you back it all the way out. You can see the screw goes underneath the main frame, and you back it out, and now you can tilt the whole trailer. You can see it swings on the back there. But this was the original color, so I do believe it was a dealer's demonstrator. Glastron Sea Flite. It was a Texas registration, and it had the name Martha Ann on the side. You could see the shadow of the letters, and the serial number on it I found on a piece of metal was 758185. If you look at this boat, you'll see this indentation. It's supposed to represent a rocket. I think in the 50s that was what it was all about speed and going fast, and rocketry was the thing. And I think that's kind of what it's supposed to represent. I mean, they had the Rocket 88 Olds that had somewhat similar shape. Most of the cars did. It's an interesting boat, but it is flat bottom, which is, you know, nothing special, that's for damn sure. But it has this original plate on the back. That's where the serial number came from. In fact, you can see it right there. And it's kind of weird. Took a lot of work. I came to me David Kelly's boat, and I told him I'd help him with it. And so it had the gel coat, which was this color, partially stripped off of it, and I filled it with epoxy, all the cracks and holes, and stripped off stuff and made it relatively smooth, and then primed it 3 or 4 times with heavy prime, and then sanded it until we got it reasonably smooth. And the seafoam green from a Pettit Manufacturing was the exact match of what it was originally, like the trailer. Underneath all the rust and everything, I found that was the original color that was on the trailer as well. I also replaced the transom, and we did a fair amount of cosmetic work. I put in a new floor, and I did some of the poor job of upholstery, and we did some deck work as well. That was shot in places, but it has, the boat itself was in pretty good shape externally, in one piece. So you can see now with the seat open, I've got it propped open, and that's where the batteries go, and that side there, and then on this side the same thing with the gas tanks. So we'll get her up and fire it up with the dual controls. I've got one engine at a time.